Welcome back to Wrestling Renaissance. Again, my name is TJ Leo.
And my name is still Cole 2K.
uh, Behind the scenes, a peek behind the curtain, as they say. This is recording 2. For whatever reason, we started out and my internet cut out for 5 seconds and ruined the recording. So we are starting over again. For those of you who have never watched the show before, Wrestling Renaissance is a podcast where before every WWE, PLE, and AEW pay-per-view, we talk about the build-up to the shows and make our official predictions, and on subsequent shows, we break down the results, see how we fared in our predictions, and rate each match on the Co-op Entertainment review scale of 1 to 10. And I am the current defending champion, predictions champion. This is my second defense attempt to keep my title. And for that, we are going to be discussing WWE Survivor Series WarGames, which happened this past Saturday. But before we do that, we have a special announcement to make.
Ooh, am I aware of this?
Yes, you are, sir.
Oh,
okay. By the time this goes live, the Wrestling Renaissance Cross Wrestling Nation Zone Wrestling Awards for 2024 will be live. Voting for it will be live, I should say. So check out the Wrestling Nation Zone Discord channel, server.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. For the link to the forums where you can submit your votes. Myself and Colt2K and Sim31 came together to nominate 4 and sometimes 6 nominees for various wrestling awards that we came up with for 2024. And the way we're deciding the winner is via Wrestling Nation Zone vote. And then we'll be breaking down the winners of all those awards on a subsequent show later in December. So for all of the details for those awards and how to vote and all that good stuff, make sure you check out the Wrestling Nation Zone Discord server. Link in the description, as Cole said. And you can find out all the deets.
Yes.
Find out all the deets. Looking forward to seeing the results of that. Should be fun.
Yes. A lot of fun.
All right.
We had a lot of fun putting those together.
That was a lot of awards. It was a lot of awards.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I love...
Good memories.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love looking back. Absolutely. Yep. Just like I love the ranked, the tier maker ranked episodes that we do. Going down memory lane is good fun. And we're gonna go down memory lane right now from about 3 days ago.
Bumpy road down this lane.
It's not a good road.
No.
To WWE Survivor Series. So let's kick things off with the show opener, which was the Women's WarGames match. Team Rhea versus Team Morgan. So it was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Naomi, and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. Jade Cargill was supposed to be in this match, but she was taken out by an unknown entity, shall we say, for now.
She got thrown on the hood of a car, but good thing she dodged the bullet of actually having to be in that match.
Yeah, tell me about it. Can you imagine how much worse that could have been with the greenness of Jade? Yeah, before we get into that, do we have any theories as to who took out Jade? It's got to be Belair, right?
Rikishi, yeah.
Rikishi.
He did Charlotte? It. I mean, do I think maybe as a way to bring Charlotte back and build Charlotte and
Interesting.
Jade?
Interesting.
Odds on favorite. First come to mind, of course, is Bianca.
Yeah, but
Naomi.
I like your idea better with Charlotte because I can't see them turning Bianca heel.
Jade's a better heel than Bianca. Although I would love to see what Bianca's like as a heel on the main roster because she was in NXT.
Bianca was a heel in NXT?
She was kind of, yeah.
I didn't
When
know that.
Charlotte had won the Royal Rumble and went down to challenge Rhea, this was before Mania 35, or I'm sorry, 36, right before.
36, yeah.
Right before COVID.
Oof.
Yeah, Bianca was a heel that was feuding with Rhea, who was a face.
Interesting. Yeah, I just think she's been made into the female John Cena, so she's like untouchable as a face now, right? You know. But who knows? We'll see how inflexible Triple H is versus what Vince was. Vince was basically like, you know what, if you're a social ambassador star type like John Cena or like Titus O'Neil or did they have any women back then that were kind of filling that role? I guess Bailey probably.
Not too much.
Yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot of females that were in that role, but I think Bailey was. That's because Bailey didn't really turn until Triple H started to get into the mix at the top. So yeah, I just we'll see if they think Belair's the worth turning heel.
Now the only one that Vince really did that with though was the Miz. Miz was always doing the press things,
which is weird because he was pretty much always a heel.
Yeah, but he did kind of build that into his character, his heel character, as being the A-list celebrity.
Yeah, that's true.
Was not exactly the best actor and whatnot.
No, he was definitely not. Still is not.
Nope, but he is a great heel.
Yes, he is. I agree with that. All right, let's get to the match itself. I know you have lots to say, so I'm going to let you lead off on this one.
No. I don't want to. I don't.
You want me to go first?
Yep, you go first. I don't want to taint what you're going to say.
So, yeah, that's the good point. It was not a good match. It wasn't a good match to begin with, build wise. We talked a little bit about that on the preview show, the prediction show, where it's like, this felt forced. There really only should have been one WarGames match on this card, and it wasn't this one. So going into it, my expectations weren't super high for what we were going to see. Not from a spot standpoint, because I knew we were going to get some cool spots from EO. Did not expect the high spot from Tiffany, thank you. Tiffany Stratton. That was a crazy bump she took.
She did something from the Elimination Chamber roof, I think, though, last year.
That's true. Yes, she did. You were absolutely correct. Yeah, she did it from from one of the top of the pods, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the match just never really it's just a hodgepodge of wrestlers put together just to say how to WarGames match. So it really wasn't necessary. And not only that, but it also defeats the purpose of the draft. Like half of these people are, on different shows. Although I guess technically there's 2 people on the men's WarGames that, or three, that are in that match that shouldn't be. It's a SmackDown thing. Which we got to get into that at a certain date. The pointlessness of the draft at this point. The match itself, though, besides the high spots, they were rough. There was, I don't know what it was, but they couldn't get it going. There was botches. None of them were like egregious botches, but there was a couple of ones where you're like, ooh, that was stupid. I'm sure you have a list of things to complain about in this match, but I think the most egregious one for me was when Nia Jax was swinging the chair and she went after Naomi. And Naomi, so obviously you don't do head unprotected chair shots to the head anymore. Just don't do it. And instead of giving Nia Jax her back, Naomi just crawls into the corner and does this and doesn't turn. And so Nia's like, and Nia's like, well, I can't swing the chair at you now because I'm probably going to break your forearm. And so now I got to do this like weird sideways hit, which looked like a
Just
love tap. You know, it was
hit
like,
you on the shoulder and the arm. Yeah.
oh, it looked brutal, and I was just like, okay, at least it wasn't Jax's fault in that, because I'm always looking for Jax botches because she's terrible.
Right.
I
Yeah.
still hate her, but I was like, Naomi, come on, what are you doing? That was you know better than that. Um, but yeah, the amount of botches, the amount of things that just didn't flow. One thing I do want to talk about, which I'm sure is going to be in your complaint list, is I'm kind of over. So I don't mind. I got to be careful with how I say this because it might offend the wrong person. Um, I don't mind women being in no DQ matches or last man standing matches or tables matches, whatever the case is, but I think they have to do a couple of things. Number one, stop using chairs. These women either are having trouble swinging them to where they look like they're doing damage, or they're very tentative about doing it, which is fine in some sense because it's like, you know, you care about the people that you're working with and you're protecting
Sure.
them. That's all well and good, but if it's to the point where it just looks bad and it doesn't look like you're actually doing anything, like the men swing those chairs, they still protect
Yeah.
them, but they swing those chairs.
They hit
The
them on their big
women,
meaty parts of their body.
yeah, the big flat surfaces. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. I guess women don't really have big flat surfaces as much as the men's, besides like very specific parts of their back. Like a lot of these women
Right.
have like the indent in their at their spine, so it's I can imagine that hurting quite a bit. You know, having that. You know what I mean. I don't need to go
Yeah.
into physical details, but you know, if it's going to be like this, where swinging the chair doesn't look good, stop using chairs. You know, don't feel like as women you have to match the men in every single thing you do. You don't need to do that to prove that you're good and as good as the men. You don't have to do
Right.
that.
And that's not what makes them good.
And that's not what makes them
Is
good anyway. Exactly.
yeah.
You know, so it's like get rid of the chairs, stop using them. Clearly, it's not for at least for these 10 women. It's not for these 10 women. So swap it out. You could have used kendo sticks. You know, I've seen you guys swing kendo sticks like it's no tomorrow. So use kendo sticks.
Yeah.
But stop using chairs. I'm kind of over the whole like weak ass chair throwing. Like it's weak. And again, this is coming from someone who, if he got hit by a chair, would probably fall over and die. So you know, keep that in mind. But you know, I think that's an objective point of view when you're looking at this match. Let's see what else. Team Rhea won. There was a Tiffany threatened to cash in moment, which didn't go anywhere. It got interrupted.
But it was clever how it was brought up. She just
it was clever. Yeah.
pulled out a trash can and
Yes, it
emptied out
was.
the trash can, and her briefcase was in there.
Yeah, she secretly hid it in one of the trash cans that came into the ring. And when she went to grab it, both Liv Morgan and Nia Jax were knocked out on the floor. So it was one of those moments where it's like, who's she going to cash in on? But then she was not able to do it on either one because I think it was Raquel came in.
And Io kind of came in with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, but someone stopped her first. Io came in with it was Raquel? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raquel was like, what are you doing? Because she thought that she was going to cash it in on Morgan. So,
yep.
So, you know, there were some clever ideas in here, but the threads that bound everything together in between, oof. Not good. And having Nia Jax start the match also.
Oof. Yep.
Ooh, man, I mean, clearly they wanted to give her a chance to prove the doubters wrong, and she was, you know, well on her way to doing that lately. But that did not pay off. Not even close. Yeah, I could go on, but I know you have more to say.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the whole match got ruined 2 weeks ago, but the moment they made it a WarGames match, you know, when Rhea came back 2 weeks ago, just kind of not. I mean, it kind of ruined it. The story. There's two stories to this match. Basically, it's Rhea and Liv, and then Tiffany
Tiffany and
cashing in.
Nia.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Tiffany cashing in her briefcase.
Yeah.
Side players, Candace trying to be Nia's friend, saying that, telling her that Tiffany's going to turn on her, that kind of thing. Uh, Bianca, of course, because she's, tag champion. It was supposed to be Jade, um, Io and Bailey and Naomi. Just a lot of it didn't really make sense. A whole lot of them all being in the same match, much less, or being in a War Games, much less the same match.
Yeah.
Um, just because you do a men's War Games doesn't mean you have to do a women's War Games. This would have been a perfect traditional Survivor Series match.
I was gonna say the 5-on-5
Yep,
elimination. Yeah.
yep. You could have had, you still could have had a Tiffany cash in tease, and of course which I don't know if it's going to be the end of the story, the end of the feud, but you still could have had Rhea doing her little pump handle slam. I can't remember the name of it.
Riptide.
Riptide. Yep, you still could have had Rhea doing the Riptide to Liv and going over and winning.
Do we think this is
Uh,
the end for their feud finally, or no? Right?
it should. I mean, I guess it should. I mean, she gave her Riptide through a table and pinned her.
She doesn't
Uh,
have her title now, though.
no,
So
but
now
she's
it's
not next.
so now
But she's not
I
next in
know,
line for it.
I know, but now it's like I've pinned the champion, so I deserve
Yeah.
a title shot. So now it's like, oh
Um,
man, they're gonna continue this,
yeah.
are they?
Um,
Yeah.
Next problem, you had Nia Jax starting off.
Oof.
You kind of brought that up. I think Bailey starting off because she can go and she can go for a while was a good. I thought that would have been a good spot for Tiffany to start off. And
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany really shined because she kind of shined in that match the other night.
Yeah, she did
Um,
some good stuff.
she could have started off at the beginning and she could have lasted the whole time and shined and looked a lot better.
I would have loved if
Uh,
they started with Bailey and Tiffany, personally. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they would have
And
been
then
great.
at some point, um, have since the baby faces had the advantage, like maybe have Nia come out third and just
Oops.
dominate everybody when she comes in
Hmm.
until Raquel comes in at four, and then of course Liv and Rhea come in last, which is kind of
Hmm.
what it was going to be either way.
Yeah.
Um, you
Speaking of
know
Rhea, that mask, pretty
that
dope.
mask was the best thing about that match. That was a
Yeah, that
badass
was
mask.
sick.
It,
And then
it
she kind of surprisingly took it off too halfway through the match and was like, "Oh, she's
Yep,
healed. Oh, okay,
yep.
cool."
Right when Liv came in.
Yeah, so she only had to wear the mask like twice, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Which makes you think, was it a work or
Yeah, I
did
don't
she
know.
really get hurt? Um,
That's a good question because that's a pretty quick recovery time for an orbital fracture. How long
yeah,
did it take? How long did Taker wear
a
his mask
month.
for? I feel like it was a while, right? Was it a
Yeah,
month?
maybe a month. Yeah,
Well, okay, well
I think.
maybe it wasn't as bad then. Maybe it wasn't as bad.
Yep. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, with Naya, it wasn't just those chair shots. There were also almost like chemistry issues. Like they just
yeah,
weren't on the same page. Like her and Bailey weren't on the same page. Her and
no.
Naomi weren't on the same page the whole time. Which, I mean, not that I'm not going to say it's a big shock. I'm not going to say it's not surprising. It's just not what we've gotten used to Naya since she came back. Just unlike what she's been. I don't know if it was just an off night or what, but
A lot of them didn't have
it
great
just didn't
chemistry.
look right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I will say that EO and Tiffany shined in the match, though. They did
they
some
did
great
absolutely.
stuff. Rhea
You
even
knew,
shined herself, but
you knew that Io was gonna do her little garbage can thing from the top, which I
yeah,
don't know how she does it. I can't do a backflip to save
that
my
one looked
life.
that one looked bad because like the first time she did it, she just kind of like jumped up and fell. This one was like a backflip.
I
It was
think
like a
the
moonsault.
first one I think she just jumped. The
Yeah,
second
she
one,
just
she
jumps.
did a splash. She turned sideways for a splash, and then
Mhm.
um, the one on Saturday was a moonsault with a trash can on.
Yeah, which, oh man, yeah, that looked rough,
Yeah.
but she was okay, so it's good.
Um, Things in the match. You had Naomi running down with a birthday hat because it was her birthday.
Yeah, yeah, that was dumb. I
And
agree.
I mean, I'm all
This is
for
War Games.
yeah, yeah. It's war games. And
Yeah,
she brings a toilet seat out
yeah. What the hell was that? That was just dumb.
so she could do sneak face with the toilet seat on Nia's leg.
Oh my, is that why? Oh my
Yeah,
god, I didn't even think
yeah,
about that. It's so
yeah.
stupid.
That's
That
like house.
screams Vince McMahon. You know.
That's that's house show stuff. Like
Yeah,
when they go out and have fun at a house show,
yeah,
that's that kind of thing. That's not war games. I mean, that's
yeah.
dumb.
100% agree.
Just stupid, stupid,
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. I don't know whose idea
Uh,
that was. That was dumb.
you know, it was just a big cluster F of cluster.
Botches, bad ideas, and pointless
I
match
mean,
to
yeah,
begin with, kind of a thing.
I hate saying they were botches. They just messed up and they just
Yeah,
weren't all
yeah,
on the same page. But it was just a cluster. It was not, with the people who were in it, knowing who was in it, I expected a lot more.
yeah.
Um,
I agree. Yeah,
I was expecting not that bad. It
there
was
was,
it was just
yeah,
horrible. I
yeah.
just
There
didn't
were
like it
several
at all.
points. Yeah, there were several points as well they where the wrestlers just looked lost,
Yeah,
where they were just. It almost looked like they couldn't tell where they were in the match. You
it
know,
was
like they
just
were like, oh, it's this time. You know what I mean?
yeah. It was
Um,
basically just 30 minutes of filler to get to the 5 minute match at the
yeah,
end. To the
yeah.
5 minutes at the
Which,
end, and which
which to
was
be
good.
fair is War Games. You know,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I would say it's definitely the worst War Games match so
And
far.
everybody had to come in with a weapon, whether it was kendo sticks, a toilet seat,
Yeah,
tables, chairs. Everybody had to come in with something, and I don't like that.
yeah. I'm wondering if they need to tweak War Games. Honestly, at this point, I like the idea of it, but the whole like everyone bringing in a weapon thing is kind of like running its course. You know, like at first it was like, oh, that's a smart idea, but now it's like everyone does it. So why don't they just put the weapons in the ring to begin with? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, or make or ban it. You know, so there's no weapons. You are just in the cage. Like, I just, I don't know. Yeah, it didn't flow. It didn't make sense. It was, yeah, it was bad. It was pretty
It was
bad.
bad. It was real bad. We might
Yeah.
see
What
later
was
on.
your what was your rating?
Uh, because of the spots, the Tiffany
Mhm.
and EO, and I guess Liv. Oh, can I also say that power bomb of Nia Jax through the table was bad too. They
Yeah, that was bad.
they pretty much overshot the table.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, she barely
Nia
hit
went
the
through
end
it
of it.
with her butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. But
Yeah.
the two spots and then the end, Rhea giving Liv the riptide through the table, and Rhea's mask saved the match for me.
Yeah, you bring this
Um,
mask, yeah.
so for those three things, I'll give it a 3 out of 10.
Oof. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it was bad.
Um yeah, one thing I also want to count against it is not the wrestler's fault. But I don't know if you noticed this, but the camera work on this match sucked. The amount of bad cuts was insane. Like there were so many high
Yeah,
spots
there
where
were a bunch of bad.
yeah, the camera just changes and I'm like, "Wait, what happened?" Or like pulls back super far. I don't know whether that was bad production or if that was like overcompensation because they realized that there was so many not botches, but you know, so many mistakes that they were
Yeah,
like trying to cover it up. They were like, "Oh shit, it's falling apart. Let's make them look as good as we can by pulling that camera back." You know, but I think they overcorrected to the point where it just looked like bad production. It just looked terrible.
it did kind of look.
Um,
not what we've gotten used to the last year.
No. You like that view of what we got of the high spot with Tiffany and EO. I barely even got to see the EOs because the
Yeah,
camera was like over on the one side
yeah.
and
When
like
they showed
something
it
was
live,
covering
they
it
didn't
up.
show EO. They only showed Tiffany.
It was basically just Tiffy, yeah. So
Yeah,
I had to wait for the replay to see EOs. So I was like, man, what are you guys doing? Very strange.
yeah.
Um, you know what I almost wonder at this point is, I'm kind of how do I say this in the right way? I think the concept of war games is cool, but the design of war games is not. If I was Triple H, I would delete the current format of war games, this whole two ring, um, uh, you know, steel cage match type environment, and I would just make it a Hell in a Cell. Because then grabbing shit under the ring makes sense because you're in the cell and you have a little bit more space to work with on the outside of the ring. You have the cage that you can climb and do stuff on still. And if you want, you can break out of the cage and do some crazy crap by climbing up the side. You know what I mean? Like it seems like that it would just make more sense to
Just depends
do.
on how many people you're gonna have, I guess,
Yeah, well, that was the other
for
thing.
one ring. Yeah,
Fucking 5-on-5. I hate this shit. That's too many people. Let's go back to 4-on-4. I don't. I
yeah. I like four on
there was
four.
no there was no reason for this to be a 5-on-5. It's just like the other match. No reason for it to be a 5-on-5. Yeah, I give it a 4. Yeah, I give it a 4. It was busted.
Yep.
How did we do on predictions?
Well, we both thought Team Maria was gonna win, which they did. I had it for 3, and you had it for 1.
Okay.
So I am up 3-1,
Alrighty. I'm in jeopardy.
and that was 38 minutes of our lives that we will not get back.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. All right, I think the next match was the LA Knight Shinsuke match, or
Yes,
was
it
it?
was.
It was okay.
Yep.
So it was the United States Championship, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Had a couple things to say about this match. So the match itself was fine. You know, it wasn't. The crowd was not like freaking out about it. The LA Knight was definitely more over than Shinsuke was.
No, the
However,
crowd really didn't freak out a whole lot about a lot of stuff Saturday night. That
yeah,
was
it was a pretty weak
not.
crowd.
Yeah, it was a pretty weak crowd.
Well, it's Vancouver, you know. I don't know if you know Vancouver, but it's Weedville, so they're probably all high as a kite and not really paying attention anyway.
I mean, it's up near Seattle, so if it's anything like Seattle, they're really a sad, dreary,
Yeah,
uh,
it is.
pothead kind of people.
Yeah, it's a pothead population for sure,
Okay,
and
yeah,
it rains there all the time, and yeah, it's very Seattle-ish for sure.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, the crowd sucked. They're one of the worst crowds for sure. If the awards had a worst crowd vote, I think we found our winner. That was definitely one of the worst. Good job, Vancouver. There's a reason that they don't come back there very often.
We might have to add a category.
Yep. So yeah, the match itself was fine. It was pretty straightforward, 1-on-1. Good defense, good offense. LA Knight had several botches. Now, I don't know for sure if they were on purpose because the commentators did such a good job of, from the very beginning, saying that LA Knight is shook from all of the sort of stalking and ambushes that Shinsuke has put on him over the last 2 or 3 weeks. He even botched getting into the ring, I think.
In the long build that they've had for this match.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think LA Knight dropped his title when he was on doing one of his like poses. I will say this though. Love Shinsuke's packaging. Holy shit.
Someone clip that. The TJ
Not
loves
as
Shinsuke's package.
I knew. How did I know that was coming? I love his repackaging. Let me say that. I've talked about this on the show before, where I'm like, some wrestlers just need to be refreshed. You know, their image needs to be refreshed. They need new music. They need a new entrance. They need some new attire. They need something to keep them themselves, but refresh their persona. This
But isn't that the same kind of Shinsuke that we got against Cody last year, a year ago?
no, no, it was still, as far as I remember, it was still the wait, Shinsuke versus Cody.
Yeah,
No, when
yeah.
did we get that?
I think that was back around the Royal Rumble last year.
Interesting. No, but I know for sure that this is an entirely new package for him, because everyone was commenting. They were like, "What the hell is this? This new music, new
Yeah, the new
outfit,
music I like too.
new entrance, like a whole new serious side to him. Love this shit." And he's got this like samurai outfit on.
Yeah.
Love everything about it. Some people in the chat were calling him Darth Nakamura. I'm like, oh yeah, that's it, Darth Nakamura. So if you ever want an example of what I'm talking about when I say that Drew McIntyre needs a persona and package refresh, look at Nakamura. This is exactly what he needed to be taken more seriously. Now that clearly didn't help the crowd, because, like we said, they didn't really seem to care much. They weren't very loud. But I think in a normal situation, like when Nakamura shows up on SmackDown this week, I think he's going to get some good heat. Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. Shinsuke won, which made sense to me because you don't bring back a legend like Shinsuke Nakamura, repackage him, and then have him lose. You don't do it.
Unless he goes against Cody, or he goes against Seth,
Yeah, but they didn't
or
repackage
against
him.
AJ Styles. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's definitely been on like a losing,
Yeah.
path for a long time, and I completely agree with that. But they repackaged him. Time to show him in a new light and see where he goes. I'm okay with that. I love his vignettes, his dark vignettes where he's talking in Japanese and they're just doing the subtitles. He's talking all dark. Like, I love that shit.
With the comic book look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that. Yeah. His whole entrance was sick with like the moon in the background, and like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. I think he was a lot of hype and didn't really deliver when he came in, but just kind of like Finn Balor, honestly. And that might not be the fault of either of those guys, because I'm sure they can put on amazing stuff. But just the way that they were presented was not great. But this made me a Shinsuke fan. I like this shit. It was great.
So I didn't understand. I didn't understand it. Why? You had,
Even though you hate LA Knight.
yeah, 3 weeks. I mean, Shinsuke came out of nowhere, 3 weeks ago, challenged him and got his match, right? In the last 5 months, you've had Andrade and you had Carmelo do a best of 7 over 9-10 weeks
That's
to
true.
get a title match, right? You built them up. You tried to build them up for almost 3 months to get a title match, only to make it a triple threat and have LA Knight win. Since then you have Santos Escobar and then someone from Legado get title matches. And then all of a sudden Shinsuke just comes out of nowhere, gets a title match, and then wins. I mean, I guess anything can happen, but what is you build? You try to build up younger talent to try to build them up and make them legitimate contenders, just to have LA Knight lose to someone older and Shinsuke. I don't know.
My
I
only
mean,
thought is,
like you said, I'm not a big fan of LA Knight, but I just didn't see why you take the belts off of him and put it on Shinsuke.
I have two thoughts on that. I think possibly number one is that LA Knight, is a face, and keeping a face with the belt for too long makes them stale, and faces are typically better at chasing the title rather than keeping it. So it could have something to do with that, where maybe they intended on dropping it to Carmelo or Andrade during that feud, and they weren't seeing the crowd responses that they were looking for to either of them. So they were like, I don't think we can drop it to either of them. I don't think that's a good idea. So they kept it on LA Knight, and then they're like, you know what, we need to take it off LA Knight. It's been too long. He needs to either move on to something else, maybe they want to move him on to the main event. I don't know. But they clearly wanted the title off of him, and so they're like, well, bring in Old Faithful, bring in Shinsuke, the perma mid Carter, and see,
I have an
give it
idea
to a
what they
heel.
could do with LA Knight.
You're not what?
I have an idea what they could do with LA Knight.
Send him to AEW.
And it's not what you're thinking. Nope. Make a trade. Although I don't know if there's really a draft and separate rosters anymore, but send him to Raw, get him fresh over on Raw, and bring over one of the best heels of 2024 over to SmackDown, Drew McIntyre. And have
I wouldn't
Drew
mind. I wouldn't mind that.
Heel, and have Drew be the next big heel to chase Cody.
Maybe that's what they're gonna do.
I would like that. I mean, I know eventually they're probably going to go Randy and Cody, but I think Drew and Cody could do some good things.
I actually like that idea for a couple of reasons. Number one, having Drew and CM Punk on the same show is going to be pretty tough at this point, because it's like
they're supposed to be done.
They're supposed to be done. Drew lost, and to have him just be like, I lost.
Yeah.
Oh well. He's got to come back, and he's got to come back with a huge purpose. So for him to come back on a different show and target Cody, I think that's a great idea.
And then he could be a promo battle with Cody that has nothing to do with Dusty.
Yeah.
It can be Drew saying, Cody, I was you before you.
Yeah, they have some history. Yeah.
No, I left the company. I made a bigger name for myself before you did.
Yeah.
That title should be mine. Something like that.
Yeah. There's a huge story that you could play with there for sure.
Drew was Cody before Cody.
And it brings another big heel to SmackDown, which they need. Yeah. Yep. Which might be another reason why Shinsuke went full on heel.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And you're right. It would give LA Knight a new roster to go up against. So,
yep.
I think that's a great idea. We'll see what happens. I'm surprised we haven't seen Drew yet. But maybe that's what it's waiting for. Maybe they're waiting for the Rumble. Maybe Drew wins the Rumble.
Yeah, probably the Rumble is when I expect to see him. Although that's kind of when I expected to see Punk. Well, the first Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, that's a good point as well.
To see Punk.
That could also be when Drew comes back, if he is coming back to Raw. Who knows? There's a lot of things that they could do for sure. Yeah. So the match 6. It was above average.
Yeah, I give it a 6.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad. Wasn't great.
No. It's hard to, I always find it hard to judge matches sometimes because, when the event has a bad crowd, it reflects negatively on the product. So if the crowd was into this, it probably would have been a 7. Because it wasn't a bad match at all.
No, it wasn't a bad match.
They did decently, so. And I thought the ending was good too. Shinsuke did something to LA Knight on the outside.
He basically planted him on that bridge, on that little metal bridge between the two.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Between the two rings.
Yeah, that metal seal thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
and
Okay.
then
Yeah. So
put him back in the One Ring and gave him the Kinshasa.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, 2 6s. What do we do on predictions?
You picked Shinsuke for 3, and I was high on Knight for once, and it bit me. I had
Ooh,
Knight. I had Knight for 5.
dang! Your
Yeah.
top 5 is gone.
Yep. So
All right then.
3. So you're up 4-3.
4-3. Oh, it's still close. All right. I think the Intercontinental was next.
Yes, it was.
So we had Braun Breaker defending against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser in what I assume you will agree with me was probably match of the night.
100%.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic, hard hitting. Man, Sheamus is a beast. I love Sheamus now. Everything he's in is just turns to gold.
It is.
And Braun Breaker's great too, man. That his spear is something to behold when he gets going. I felt like Ludwig Kaiser was a little underutilized in this match. Would you agree? I feel like he didn't get enough like attention in this
Yeah,
match.
I can agree to that.
I mean, he played his role. You know, he was kind of the worm. You know, in the match, he was the slime ball of the match,
Yeah.
trying to eke out a win, which I appreciate. But I feel like he could have had more time, could have had more spotlight on him.
Yep, could have had more shine.
Yeah, a little disappointing there. But great match either way. Some great spots. Braun Breaker won by pinning Sheamus, which sucks. I think we both. Yeah, I think we both called a Ludwig Kaiser pin here, not Sheamus. I'm not sure what the point of having Braun Breaker pin Sheamus was. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. Sheamus just can't catch a break.
No.
I unless he doesn't care. Maybe he's at the point in his career where he's like, you know what, just let me build up other people. It could be that, that he's in Shawn Michaels mode at this point. He's like, don't give me titles, just let me make others look good. But or maybe they're saving his Intercontinental win for Mania.
WrestleMania or something. Yeah, something big.
Something to give him a how do you do, because he deserves it. Although I think he deserves not only the Intercontinental title, but I think he deserves the World Heavyweight title at some point at this point. Like, he's just so good.
He's so
good.
Maybe he'll go against Gunther.
Oh, man. I would love to see, at WrestleMania, I'd pay to see that for sure. That would be sick. I mean, their match at WrestleMania 39 with Drew was... It's like top 10 Mania matches, in my opinion.
They said that where they're going to have Clash next year?
No. In fact, one thing I did want to bring up to you, I wasn't going to bring it up on the show, but I might as well now that you've mentioned it, is normally they announce pay-per-views quite far ahead of time, but if you look at 2025 schedule, there's only like 4 so far.
When they pointed out, they had a package on the pre-show talking about Vancouver getting the PLE this past weekend, and they announced this in August. I mean, that was only like
6 months.
3.5 months before.
Well, if we look at, let me bring it up. So 2025 only has 4: Royal Rumble on February 1st, Elimination Chamber March 1st, WrestleMania, and then nothing until SummerSlam. So what's in May, June, and July?
Yeah.
Nothing. Well, so Money in the Bank is missing. Backlash is missing. And then what else?
Queen and King of the Ring.
Oh, is that in there? Yeah, Queen and King of the Ring.
Of course. Crown Jewel.
There might be a 4th then. There might be a 4th one. What was 2024? Let's see. So 2024 was Backlash, and then King and Queen of the Ring. Oh, and then Clash at the Castle. and then Money in the Bank, and then SummerSlam. So yeah, there's like 4 pay-per-views missing from their
Maybe
schedule
they'll
still.
maybe they'll have Clash in Ireland, and they can have Sheamus.
Oh, that would be sick.
That
Yeah,
would be awesome.
Clash Ireland
That would that would do great for Sheamus.
for sure. Yeah, that would be sick. WrestleMania's in Nevada? Huh.
Las Vegas.
It says Paradise, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, I guess that's what they call it. Paradise. Just
Oh, is
Paradise.
that what they?
Yeah, I guess technically it's not inside Las Vegas city limits or something.
That's right. And then SummerSlam's in New Jersey, and it's the two night
Yep.
SummerSlam. Which at the moment I agree with. I think that's a good idea. Having 2 of the, make SummerSlam like WrestleMania. Make it a big deal. Because like last SummerSlam was fantastic, and it was only one night. If they could make it a WrestleMania like event, that would be sick.
Have like 6 matches each night.
Yeah, I think that's a good number.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, getting back to Braun Breaker, Sheamus, and Ludwig, great match. I give it an 8. I wasn't a fan of Sheamus taking the pin, and then of Ludwig not getting enough time to shine. But it was match of the night for sure.
Yep. I'll give it a 9. I'll go 9.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yep.
great.
I mean, clean win. Really great match. You had I don't remember if it was after a spear or what
2
move it
spears.
was after. You had Sheamus going to pin Braun, and very last second you saw the ref get pulled out by Ludwig.
Yes. Yeah, that was perfection.
That was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Camera placement,
everything.
That was
Ludwig's timing, the referee's timing on his hand coming down, everything. It was like, mwah.
And then Sheamus's face.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder if that's what they're going to go for now. Is Sheamus lost, and now he's going to go after Ludwig? Maybe a feud there,
and then hopefully eventually Gunther.
And then and then it leads to Gunther. Yeah, that would be dope.
Yep. But yeah,
I'm in for that. Predictions.
Well, we both like Braun. You had Braun for 4, and I had Braun for 2.
Nice.
So you are up. You've got 8, and I've got 5.
8-5.
Right. Side note: Braun is 27 years old.
27.
Only 27. Yep.
Yeah, Braun's got a bright future if he can stay healthy.
Very bright.
He is a stud. All right. Second last match was the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Damian Priest in a rematch from SummerSlam, and here's a guest appearance.
Oh, we got a run in.
We got a run in.
Say hi, Cameron.
Hi.
Hi. Gunther and Damian Priest rematch was it was fine. It was a little underwhelming for me personally. I was expecting a little bit more from them. But it's also not fully their fault because of the ending, which was even more disappointing.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, though, I will say Damian Priest did a absolutely fantastic job selling for Gunther. Gunther kept going after his, I think it was his right shoulder.
Yep, went after his shoulder.
So he couldn't do the South of Heaven, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and several other moves that he really relies on his shoulder strength for. Gunther at one point had Damian in, I think it was like it wasn't an abdominal stretch. It was that one where
it was a triangle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was almost like a triangle type move. And Damian selling that was amazing. He was screaming, and it sounded legit. Like, it didn't sound bad. It sounded legit. His facial expressions were fantastic. He did a great job. Like, great A. I noted that very clearly in my notes because I was like, that was great selling. It's hard to note great selling because you're not supposed to notice it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
But he did such a great job that it stood out. So great job for Damian. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about the match itself. The finish was basically identical to their first match, which
Yep.
is at the wrong time. Gunther was distracting the ref, and Damien was outside. I think he Gunther did some sort of move on him, which made him Damien fall out of the ring. And Damien was screaming like it's popped out, and he was like pointing to his shoulder, like his shoulder had dislocated from all of the damage. And so he was resting on the outside of the ring while the referee was in the ring being distracted by Gunther. And Finn Balor comes out of the crowd or wherever he was and does a coup de grace on Damien outside the ring, throws him back in the ring, and Gunther puts him in a sleeper and chokes him out
Yep.
again. So apparently that feud is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Which, I guess.
Yes, that's what they're gonna do with Damien afterwards. Again.
More Judgment Day. He just can't get away from Judgment Day.
Nope.
It's a little annoying. It's a little annoying.
At this point, he should just admit defeat and ask to go to SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's another thing that like they're kind of writing themselves into a wall with the Bloodline storyline and the Judgment Day storyline because like you said, it's like how do you keep these guys on the same show and exit their feud? Like they hate each other now, just hate each other. So switching shows seems like the logical thing to do for a bunch of these guys. I give the match about a 6.
Yeah, 6. I go 6.
Yeah, it was above average. But that ending sucked. I was very disappointed.
The crowd was just not so much into it, and it was just kind of a
No.
slow and methodical pace.
Oh, I will say this. I could be wrong on this. Because it was really hard to hear the crowd when they were chanting things because they were so quiet. But there was 2 times, I think. It happened once in this match, and then it happened once in the women's WarGames match. I'm pretty certain that they gave a "you fucked up" chant. Am I wrong?
I don't remember where it would have been in this one. I'm sure they did in the first one, in the women's match.
Yeah. Now, crowds have not chanted that in like 10, 15 years. Because we got to a point where the crowd was like, okay, I respect these guys. They're doing some crazy shit. They're hurting their bodies. That's a rude chant. Somehow the crowds smartened up and stopped chanting that. The fact that it was a Canadian crowd that decided to bring that chant back kind of pisses me off. Yeah, and it wasn't Montreal. It's like, that kind of pisses me off. I'm like, come on, guys, represent Canada a little better than that. That's some bullshit. Yeah, I was not happy hearing those chants. If that's what I was hearing, it could have been something else, but that's what it sounded like to me, and I was quite irritated with that, as I'm sure the wrestlers were. So, have some more respect for the people in the ring. They're doing their best. Yeah. So we both gave it a 6.
Both gave it a 6.
And predictions.
We both like Gunther. You for 5 and me for 4.
Ooh, still doing good. Yep. Still keeping the lead. All right.
So you're at 13 and I'm at 9.
Ooh, I'm pulling away.
You can see where this is going.
Slowly pulling away. All right. Let's get to the final match. Push you out of your misery. It's the male WarGames match. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, the Usos, CM Punk versus Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, the Tongas, and Big Bronson Reed. This one was definitely better than the women's WarGames match, but it was also not perfect, I would say. It was great.
It was underwhelming.
But it was underwhelming, yes, for a couple of different reasons. But let's go into let's go into the match. So I think it was Tama Tonga and Jay that started it. That's right. I know that there was some complaints online about Tama Tonga not taking things seriously and doing weird shit in the ring all the time like you would do at a house show. And I'm like, dude, no, no. He's being a character.
That's what his
And
character has been since he showed up.
yeah, he is think about how difficult it must be for him and Tongaloa to stand out amongst what, 8 Samoans, something like that.
For
How many
now.
Samoans they got now? For
'Cause there
now,
will be
yeah,
more. Yeah, because there will be more.
yeah. We're going up to 10, I'm sure. That must be really challenging. So for him to be doing all this weird shit, doing that weird climb on the steel cage when he was in the War Games cage, and then his laugh, his like, yeah, 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 that is not taking things seriously. That is taking things seriously. He is trying to give himself a persona, a character that people can latch onto, whether they hate it or love it. He's doing something right. So check yourselves, people, if you think it's
That's right.
if he's not doing the right thing. He's definitely doing the right thing. Tongaloa, on the other hand, he's not doing anything right. he's still should not have been called up to the main roster. He is not. He is NXT. He needs to be sent to NXT. He needs some seasoning.
He does.
But yeah. So they started the match. Who came in second?
I think it was Jimmy.
The good team had the advantage, or was it the bad team?
No, the bad team had the advantage.
Okay, so it must have been No, it wasn't Tongaloa. Oh, it was Reed.
Yeah,
It
Bronson
was
Reed.
Reed, wasn't it? Bronson Reed
Yep.
came in. Nothing really significant during that portion that I can recall, and then Jimmy came in. Nothing significant, in that part of the match either. But again, it was entertaining. They were doing good stuff. And then Tongaloa was going to come out, but Solo put his hand out and was like, "Nope, Jacob, get in there." And then Jacob came in, and the crowd went kind of bananas for him, which tells you all you need to know about Jacob's future.
Yeah,
he's a made man.
Yep, he's gonna be the star.
Yeah, man, and he did some incredible things in this match. Man, he is just, I don't know, man. He's almost Randy Orton like in his moves, where they're so buttery smooth.
He makes it look easy.
He makes it look effortless. He's just like, yeah, sure, I'll do a doot moonsault off the top rope, and it's like, oh yeah, it's fine, I did it. Like effortless stuff. He's fantastic. I did comment during the pay-per-view in the Wrestling Nation Discord that he's got to stop the Umaga pose. He does that thing where he goes,
oh yeah,
that thing. He's got to stop that because Solo does it. In honor of Umaga. So Jacob, you gotta rein that back in because you guys gotta differentiate yourself. I don't like that. But I will say Jacob adopted the boogeyman dance. Did you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Where he was doing that wiggle. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good with that. That makes you stand out.
After he no-sold something from Pop.
Yes.
It wasn't the toolbox. It was something else.
No. It wasn't the GTS. It was something big though.
Some kind of bulldog or something. I don't remember.
Damn, yeah, I don't remember what it was. It was a big move though, yeah, and then Punk turned around like he just whooped ass, and Jacob's just standing behind him like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. It was great. Crowd was going bonkers.
Yeah, it was the bulldog onto the toolbox.
Oh yeah, and he just completely no-sold it. Yeah, it was cool. I'm a little. I would say be very careful with the no selling because sometimes it comes across as great and epic, and other times it comes across as like, that's a little that we're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah,
it's a little too much. You just got your head smashed into a toolbox. You should be at least feeling something, And then let's see. Then we went back to the cage, and then Punk was going to come out, but Roman put his hand up and was like, "Nope, Sammy, you go in." and Punk was giving Roman the death glare. And that was not a good sign of things to come, or so we thought. And then after that, Tongaloa came in, and then we went back to Roman and Punk, and Roman was about to come out, and Punk was like, "Nope," and
I'm going in.
just sped walk right to the ring, and then he waited for quite a long time outside the ring, not getting into it. He was like, "No, you're all gonna wait. You're all gonna wait for me," And then he eventually got in and whooped some ass, and things were going great there. Then Solo came out, and then the New Bloodline basically took over at that point, just completely wrecked Sami Zayn, the Usos, and Punk. They were all down for the count. And then Roman came out after Solo locked the cage door, which I was kind of confused about that spot. I was like, this is why it would make way more sense if they did it with Hell in a Cell. Because you can't get in it now, know? But, it was like, well, Roman's just going to climb it, right? Oh, yep, he's just climbing it. Okay, that spot was weird. I was wondering if Roman was going to do a dive off the top, because that would have made more sense, but I'm like, they're not going to risk Roman doing a dive.
No.
There's no fucking way. So I'm like, what was the point of this? Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought that was kind of a bad call, It made Solo kind of look like an idiot. It's like, what'd you think? Roman was not going to climb the cage? It's like, okay.
They've done that for a year, though. Make Solo look like an idiot.
Make Solo look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. They always kind of elevate him, and then they put him back down by making him look like a moron. That's a good point. So now we got all 5 of them in the ring. It took about 5 to 10 minutes for the announcer to be like, "And now let the War Games begin."
Yeah.
For whatever reason, took him a while. It took them until you had one team on one ring and the other team on the other ring, and then they did it. It was like, oof, not great organization there. Thought that was kind of strange. And then the match really took off. I will say I was expecting a little bit more from the toolbox that CM Punk brought in the ring. I thought he was going to open it up and there'd be some tools, in there. Or maybe some thumbtacks hidden in there. Yeah, screwdriver, something.
Some Legos,
some Lego.
Well,
some bracelets, some beads.
Well, they're in Vancouver. They could have had some Tim Hortons coffee beans or something.
An ode to Big E. Just have some Timbits, instead of pancakes. Yeah, so I was a little let down at that. Also, nobody bled. They didn't do any blood, which was very strange in a CM Punk match.
It was kind of.
I don't know whether that was because they were in Canada. Maybe they felt like it was a bad idea. I don't know. But I thought it was really strange. I guess the big spot of the match was the Bronson Reed table spot, right?
Yep, the splash off the top of the cage.
Which, in hindsight, was a terrible idea, which we'll go into in a minute. So, Big Bronson Reed went up to the top of the cage and jumped onto Roman, who was laying on the table. But CM Punk, of all people, pulled Roman off the table, like, literally in the nick of time. Like, probably a centimeter or two from, like, breaking Roman's leg.
Like Bronson's hair probably touched Roman.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
It was that close.
Yeah, it was bad. So that it was an epic spot. However, as we found out later, Bronson Reed either broke his ankle on that spot or broke some ligaments. He's got a boot on now, and he's going to get it looked at.
If you saw a close-up slow motion of it, it looked bad.
Yeah. His right ankle went for a twist. So they're not sure if it's broken or if it's ligament tear or what it is, but it's probably going to take him out of commission for
because ankle went towards Alaska and his knee went towards California.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad. Yeah.
Prayers for him.
Yeah, maybe not give Bronson Reed, maybe not put a 500-pounder on the top of a cage to jump down. Just, and if you're going to do it, maybe put 2 tables.
It was a
break his fall a little bit better.
Hell of a spot,
Hell of
though.
a spot. Yes, it was a hell of a spot. Absolutely. It was perfect timing from everybody. It was really good.
Reminded me of
Um,
Adam Copeland at Double or
oh,
Nothing with his landing on his foot like that.
ooh, yeah. Or Edge. Seems to be a common thing, jumping off cage and breaking your foot or your ankle or,
Yeah.
you know, some. I was a little surprised. I don't think we got a Jacob Fatu big spot.
Not like that.
No, I was expecting him to do like a backflip off the top of the cage or something like that,
Yeah.
but we didn't really get anything like. At least not that I can recall. Um.
We got a
So
Jimmy
yeah.
splash off the top. Towards the
Was it
ring.
onto a table or was it on the mat? I think it was on the mat, wasn't it?
I think it was on the table.
Was it on the table? I will say Jimmy kind of
Yep.
shined in this match.
Yeah. Through Jacob off the top of the cage.
Oh yes, that's right. Because this was when Jacob was feigning his knee injury again.
Yep.
Do you remember what caused that? What caused Jacob to feign the knee injury? He did something, or someone did something to him, or maybe that's what caused him to start feigning his knee injury. Was the table spot? I don't know, but I remember him, feigning a really bad knee injury at one point. It was
I don't remember.
hobbling around. Yeah, but the pretty much the story of the match was, can Roman trust Punk? And as it turns out, he could. It was a clean victory when they put I think Roman pinned Solo
Yep.
after a table spot, put him through a
Oh,
table.
after
Everything technically. Yeah.
After Jimmy put Jacob through the table, that took everyone else. That had everyone else out of the match for New Bloodline. Only Solo was left standing, and then everybody surrounded him, and everybody hit everything.
Yeah.
You had the Usos hit Solo super kicks, and then you had the double super kick, and then you had
GTS.
You had the Haluva kick,
Mm.
and then you had the GTS, and then you had the spear.
Yeah. So he got crushed.
He got buried.
Yeah, he got buried. Yes, he did. And that was basically it. Roman pinned Solo, and that was the match. Two things came out of it that sort of, one was good and one was bad, I will say, after the match. The good thing was they did a close-up of CM Punk exiting the ring and hugging the wise man, Paul Heyman, who oddly came out like 3/4 of the way through the match for some reason. Why he wasn't out there the whole time, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I mean, what would he do? Just stand back by the cage, or would he stand?
I guess.
I don't know.
I just, his appearance was just kind of weird. I don't know. But I'm glad he was there. But yeah, CM Punk hugged Paul Heyman on the outside of the ring. The camera came in close, and you hear Punk say, "You're welcome, but you're gonna owe me one." All right.
Yep.
And that's kind of, and Paul Heyman was like, "You got it," and that was it. And they posed, all five of them posed at the entranceway in what felt like a very extended ending that was waiting for something that never came.
It's like you were waiting for something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was like, are they? They must be bringing out somebody. They must be bringing out Rock or Drew's coming out. Something's happening.
They almost always end the show with the winner still in the ring posing.
Yeah, but no, they follow. But yeah, nothing happened. So I'm assuming that they just went early. They just had extra time, which it does seem like they went early, because I think the show ended at like it was like 9:32, which was like a half an hour before normally it would end. I felt short.
Actually, I had to watch that match on the replay because I kind of fell asleep.
Yeah. It's fair. It wasn't a great show.
Yeah.
The other thing that came out of that match was the bad thing, which was a very emphasized call from Michael Cole and Corey. I think it was Corey Graves was on commentary, stating, "This isn't the end. Clearly, this war is over, but the war for the Ulafala is still on. Roman still doesn't have it." And I was like, so what the fuck was the point of this match then?
Right.
So there was literally no point to this match?
When
We
you
just
completely
fought?
not embarrassed, but I mean, you just completely took out and dismantled the heel team.
Yeah.
So
Heel team's destroyed.
Nothing left.
They have no leg to stand on, and you can't just go grab the Ulafala? Where is it?
Right.
He was wearing it when he came out. Where is it? So I was like, okay, so they're continuing this, even though they just, like you said, absolutely obliterated the new bloodline. So what the hell's next?
Right.
Is this when they bring back The Rock? Like, or they bring it in a fifth guy now, or like a like you said, there's more Fatus coming. So maybe another fifth. Like, it just feels like it felt like the WarGames match was pointless. It was like, yeah, you brought CM Punk back to help them win nothing. You won a match. Whoop-de-friggin' do. There was no...
which is why we both thought that the other team was going to win.
Yeah, exactly. But they won, and now they're going into it where the new bloodline looks weak again for no reason. I just completely disagree with the outcome.
Are the Usos going to stay together when they're on separate shows?
Yeah.
I mean...
And Sammy's not on SmackDown.
Nope.
So, and Punk's not on SmackDown.
And Bronson Reed was not on SmackDown.
Yeah, so is it going back to just Roman and Jimmy? It's like, it's so confusing. It's so... I genuinely don't have any idea what's happening. Like, SmackDown should be interesting. Raw tonight should be interesting to see if there's any fallout from it. But like, this match doesn't seem to have solved anything, and if anything, it's just extended this this question of, like you just said, like, is Sammy and Jay and Punk just going to go back to Raw and everything's going to go back to the way it was?
Right.
Or are they staying on SmackDown? Punk's clearly not, because it was clearly a favor to Heyman to help out, and he did that, and he won.
Yep.
And he said, "You owe me one." So
now we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out something tonight, because Punk is actually kicking off Raw tonight.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. Okay,
maybe we'll get some, and will Heyman be with him when he comes out?
Also a good point. Yeah. Okay. Which starts in 9 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we should close out shop. So I give the match a 7 for its entertainment value. It would rank higher if there was at least one more good high spot, and if the outcome made any sense whatsoever, and if there was actually a reason to have this match to begin with, because it doesn't seem like there was one.
And for all those reasons, I give it a 5.
Oof. Yeah. Not good. How do we do on predictions? Who's the champ?
Well, you said we got to go in how many minutes?
8.
Then I'll make this last 8 minutes. Nope. We both thought the 2.0 was going to win. I guess it doesn't really matter how many points, but I had 1, you had 2. That means you're a winner and still defending, reigning 13-9.
2 defenses on the record, baby.
I am still trivia champion.
You are still trivia champion, but I have not challenged you for a rematch on that yet. We'll see how long it takes to get back to that. All right. Well, that is Survivor Series. Overall, I give the show like a 5 average. Like it was not good. It was probably WWE's worst pay-per-view this year.
It was definitely one of the weaker ones.
Yeah,
maybe not quite near Clash,
Crown Jewel,
or Crown Jewel.
Yeah, but it was not great.
It was not great.
No, I think this should be the last Survivor Series where WarGames is like a guarantee.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, you think Bloodline stuff is going to be all over both shows, or all over the main show? Whatever's going to be going forward. I'm sure they'll make a case for one WarGames match a year, hopefully.
I'm okay with that, but I don't think you should be tying it to the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Because this is what caused issues in the first place was themed pay-per-views which watered down all of those themed matches because it was like you're just putting it there because you have to, not because it didn't make sense for the story. And while I think that the Bloodline match or the Bloodline storyline did warrant a War Games match, in this case it wasn't. It didn't. There was no consequences,
No stakes.
no stakes, and there should have been. The Ulafala should have been on the line. And obviously the women's War Games match just didn't need to happen at all. So
No.
I think War Games should be dropped as a sub brand of Survivor Series. It should not be a requirement. You can put War Games anywhere. You don't have to put it at Survivor Series. So I say get rid of that. Get rid of War Games from Survivor. At least don't tie it to Survivor Series. Don't require it anymore.
Right.
And don't do 5-on-5 anymore. Go back to 4-on-4.
Yeah, 4-on-4 definitely would have been good.
Yeah, much better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, voting for the Wrestling Awards is live. Make sure to go vote. You can follow all of our Co-op Entertainment stuff on Twitter at co-op_entertain, but just subscribe. It would be better. You can follow me on BlueSky at TJ-Leo.
And I'm on the X and the Blue Sky at Cole2K.
And you can email in your questions to be featured on the show to co.op.podcast@gmail.com.
And chat with us nightly during the shows on pay-per-views and PLEs out in the Discord at discord.gg/Wrestling Nation Zone.
And that is our show. It is time for WWE Raw. Let's see what happens in the aftermath. We will be back next week with a special Wrestling Renaissance run-in. Can't wait for that one. That's going to be fun. All right. This has been Wrestling Renaissance. Have a good one.
Have a good one.